Welcome back into the Sports Source. The segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. If you're wanting a stone look for your home or your business, be sure to consider manufactured stone. It's lighter, more cost-effective than traditional stone, features greater consistency of materials as well, and it's quicker for installation times. Revolutionary building materials. That's what you always get at A.G. Hines Company. Check them out right on Hines Street in downtown Knoxville, or visit them at aghines.com. All right, let's welcome in the next two members of our panel right here. Longtime media members Chuck Cavaleris, Bob Hodge, been on this show since day one, 21 years ago.
Yes.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And each week we do a couple of questions in this second segment, and I'll go ahead and tell you to keep voting. By the way, it's interesting. 77% of you are thumbs up with Joe Milton. Only 9% thumbs down. So it's become a positive mood around here for Mr. Milton, which is a positive thing for UT and for him. We do every week best player, worst coaching move. Chuck, I'll start with you. Best player on the field last night. Doesn't have to be a Tennessee guy.
Yeah.
If you think it was Devin Leary, that's where you got to go. Or do you think Tennessee had the best player on the field?
Well, I tell you what, to me, I think we go back to the guy has the biggest impact and changing the course of the game, Dylan Sampson, again. I mean, and you've got so much trouble in the red zone, guys. Who scored on a 12-yard touchdown for the last touchdown of the game? He did some things that nobody else on that field. I mean, I got Jalen Wright. You can't forget about him, over 100 yards again. But Dylan Sampson, keep getting him the ball, and that's how you're going to win some games. That's how you're going to score in the red zone.
Well, it hasn't been so far. Okay, we'll get into that, though. All right, best player on the field, Bob.
You know, I thought Devin Leary possibly was going to be it. I just kept looking at it, thinking about it, thinking back to the ball game. I've got to go Dylan Sampson, too, because he broke a tackle on a little pass. It was a third down play, I believe, where he wasn't getting nothing. They had him bottled up. Mm-hmm. And remember last week, I think I pronounced it, don't run Dylan Sampson up the middle. It's pointless.
Well, we all agreed with it. Yeah, it wasn't just you.
Well, guess what? You can run Dylan Sampson up the middle, and he looks like he can do pretty good. So I think I've now picked him 4 out of 7 weeks or something, but Dylan Sampson.
All right, Devin Leary, 372 yards passing, 28 of 39. Didn't do anything that cost his team, but he's not the best player on the field. You guys go with the Tennessee guy as well? We're making the people in Bell County and Whitley County and Harlan County upset.
It was Dylan Wright.
It was the two running backs.
Cavaleris in the question.
Jalen
Wright first half, Dylan Sampson second half. But if you go the whole game, it's hard to ignore what Leary did.
Oh, well, you do your thing. I'm just trying to make sure the Kentucky fans don't send me ugly emails.
No, I think that it's hard to distinguish Wright and Sampson other than Sampson in the fourth quarter at crunch time was brilliant.
Yep.
So because of the game being on the line at that point, I would go Dylan Sampson.
Okay, where you going?
I got to go Jalen Wright because he set the tempo up front. He's the one with the big long run. He's the one that got it all started. I wonder if he was banged up, and I think they mentioned he was nicked up a little bit. I don't know if he would be in the ball game in the fourth quarter if he wasn't 100% healthy.
I agree with you, especially I thought they kept going back to Sampson, especially that last drive. It's like you're giving it to him there in the fourth quarter. You have the timeout, and I'm expecting Wright to come back there, and instead they just show him standing there on the sideline.
I thought you would go to Wright to kill the clock.
Yeah. Because here's the thing. We can talk about Dylan Sampson did run the ball up the middle well. That's still I'm still wanting Jalen Wright to make those plays. I still think he's averaging 7 yards a carry on the season, as we'll show you later, compared to Small and Sampson, who are averaging 5 yards a carry. I think Sampson's your explosive back, Wright's your bull, but he had to have been hot. I mean, he had to have been nicked up or hurt at some point, in my opinion, for him not to be out there. I agree with you. Let me give out a shout-out also to Charles Campbell.
Yes, sir.
4 of 4. Had one that ricocheted in. He meant to do it. He called it, put English on it, knew what he was doing. I was sitting there thinking it didn't happen because the Kentucky defender got injured, so Tennessee didn't have to run out there and try that fifth field goal. Would they have? Because that would have given Kentucky a chance to block it.
The Cavaleris line was pulling for it, I'll tell you what.
So if they'd given him a shot to hit 5, that would have been, I think he would have been like Alan Duncan in 1979 or 1980. Was 5 for 5 in field goals in Lexington. I know because I was there. Worst coaching move. Was there one?
I tell you what, how soft of a coverage can Tennessee play? Just you talk about Leary being a candidate, but I mean we could have completed some of those passes. Tennessee's cornerback was so far off. I don't understand what they were doing.
Sterling's over there laughing at that idea.
I don't
I bet you
understand
could.
that soft coverage
Yeah.
time after time after time.
That stood out to me too. But has there been games this year where they've played kind of a soft coverage, but because your pass rush has been so good, you don't notice the soft coverage? So I'm not going to go with that. And mine's kind of, they ended up scoring. But you get the ball back with 1:40-something to go in the half, and you just fiddle around and you're not doing anything and the clock's running. You got points, to me, in spite of yourself, and that's like the third game this year that Tennessee has done that.
Mike, I know you.
Oh, Bob just took mine.
We need to be quick. So
but I would say also at the end of the game, when we had 4:24 left to go, there were several plays where they were doing it quicker, right? There was still 12, 13 seconds. They huddle up, but they would still snap the ball with 12 seconds on the clock. You got another 10 seconds. You do that 2 or 3 more times, you don't even worry about an injury.
All right. Jimmy, in terms of them not going for it there at the first half, I think you and I thought the same thing. I don't think they trusted Joe Milton right there.
I think they wanted to make a play to get started.
And
once
get
they
out
got
of the shadow of their
correct,
yeah.
run the clock until you get a first down, and then when you do it, boom, let's go. But there was one play, it ended up being non-consequential to the game. But Tennessee, they're trying to run out the clock, and they run a wide pitch, and they give it to Sampson. He runs out of bounds.
Yes.
It was
And
they ran to
what
the short
are
side.
you doing? Well, luckily, he did it with like 2 minutes and 1 second left so that the clock would run.
Yes.
But I thought that doesn't make any sense to be running out of bounds.
I didn't like that play call because it was to the short side. If you're going to do that play, run that to the wide side of the field.
And don't run out of bounds.
I will turn this around. We've gone over, which I didn't want to do, but I need to. If I'm going to criticize them one week, I want to give them credit the next. I said last week, at some point when your offense can't get fourth and shorts, you're 3 of 13 on fourth down, you've got to learn to trust your defense. Stop going for it deep in your own side of the field. First quarter, they had a chance to do it, and they said, nope, we're not doing it. So I criticized you for doing it last week. I said, you're going to have to learn you can't. They did. Credit to the coaches for not being there and for not trying to get it there. And I know ESPN's analytics, they said, well, our analytics say go for it. I'm like, that's why your analytics are stupid. Because if you look at Tennessee, if you factor Tennessee in, you would know they're 1 for 6 on 4th and 2 or less.
Right.
Their analytics say don't go for it.
Maybe
I don't
you can
care what San Diego State does.
Criticize Kentucky for
Situational.
going for it if you're going to
There
criticize
you go.
somebody.
They went for it. And
0 for 2, right?
All right. When we come back, what's behind Tennessee's red zone issues? And can they fix those issues before it bites them again? Come on back on the Sports Source. We'll discuss that in the Stole Train.